Hello, you're with Libby from libbystamps.com, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia, and I'm here today with another technique video for you. This one's quite quick and easy. It may take a little bit of time to show you, but once you get the method down, it's an easy technique to do and quite effective. Now I'll try and bring this card up, and hopefully you can see I've got bit of the marbled stamp in the background. It's a background stamp, and I've used Painted Harvest on the top. So the marbled background stamp looks like this from Stampin' Up, and it's one of our new background stamps this year, and Painted Harvest is in the holiday catalogue, so it's current at the moment and getting a lot of use. Alright, so we're going to do this technique today, and we'll start by inking up our stamp with Craft Whisper White from Stampin' Up. So this is what it looks like. These actually come uninked in Australia now, and they give you a refill with it, and you ink it up before you use it. Now, quite a juicy stamp pad, and I'll be stamping on Whisper White, and we're going to use Dapper Denim, Soft Suede and Pear Pizzazz for this technique, and I'll show you the finished card on my blog later on. And so I lay my stamp. Now, I like to buy my background stamps on wood because they're such a large surface, and I think the wood gives it that rigidity that it needs. You can't quite get the same effect, I don't feel, with the clear stamps, so that's why I buy mine on wood. Alright, so we're just going to ink up this stamp with Whisper White. We ink it up all over, and we do that very well. And another tip for you while you're using your Whisper White, I actually spray my Stampin' Mist on it and then clean up with wet wipes, and then go back in and clean it on my Stampin' Scrub. I do that because the Whisper White goes everywhere on your Stampin' Scrub, and then you need to clean it before you can use other stamps. So that's my findings anyway. So I think that's pretty well inked up. All right, I'll bring in my piece of Whisper White, and I'll put all the measurements up on my blog, and I want to have most of this marbled effect. You could do this with any of our background stamps. So you just pop it down on top, and then I just get a piece of copy paper, place that on top again, and rub over without moving the piece of Whisper White underneath. I give that a good rub all over so the card is well inked with the background stamp. And I lift that off, and I can reuse that for something else later, and take off the background. Now I'll just show you what I mean with the stamp. I give it a good spritz first with Stampin' Mist, and if you haven't got any Stampin' Mist, you really need to buy some because it helps condition our stamps as you clean them. And then I just take a couple of wet wipes and I clean that off as well as I can. Sometimes it might take a couple of cleanings, but you can see how that ink sort of grabs to the stamp and doesn't want to come off very easily. So I'll just do one more lot of wet wipes. And just buy the cheap brand of wet wipes. You don't have to buy brand names. Alright, so that's pretty clean. Then I just bring in my Stampin' Mist, which has already got bring in my Stampin' Scrub, which has already got Stampin' Mist on it, and then I just twist. And there it's nice and clean. And then I just dry on the other side the same way. All right, another tip for you using your Stampin' Scrub. They've got little pictures on them. This one's got the sun in the corner. This one's got the drops in the corner, I think. No, sun, sorry, and drops. So the drops is the wet side and the sun is the dry side. I put a little bit of washi tape on the tab at the end for the wet side, so I know that side's always got to be wet. All right, so there's a couple of tips for you today. Now, don't touch your Whisper White. All right, now because I'm using a photopolymer stamp set, I'm going to bring in my mat, my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I'm just going to lay my background on there like that, and then I'll stamp. Now, you need to clean your stamps in between each stamping, otherwise you'll have ink everywhere. Your Whisper White ink will go onto your stamps, and when you go to re-ink them, you'll have Whisper White in your coloured stamp. All right, so I'm going to ink up with the spot and do 3. So I might do one up here this time. No, I'll do one down here. Clean off. Do another one about here. Now, you can't see on the photopolymer stamps, but it does pick up the Whisper White background. And another one here. All right, and then I'm going to bring in Dapper Denim. Now, I'm only using Dapper Denim for the flowers this time because I'm going to stamp off. So, I'm going to bring in my large flower stamp, and I'm going to ink up with Dapper Denim, stamp off, and stamp around my flower. Clean off my stamp.
Hey, if you want to play, make it about a place. It'll take creation, imagination. Try to draw out.
Now, with the other flower, I'm going to come in and stamp full strength. I think I've inked up the middle and I can't see, but anyway, we'll have a go there. And I'll clean off. And then if you wanted to, you could come back in and go half strength around again with the full one. I'll just show you what that might look like. So I've got the full one and I stamped it that way before. So this time I'm going to give it a quarter turn, stamp down, stamp off, stamp there. So that's that flower with the extra. I quite like it, so I might just do the other two.
Inspiration, all I'm saying is you can do it. I want to hear you say, I am independent.
Now I need to come in and put some leaves on. Same thing again, I'm just using Pear Pizzazz and the leaf from Painted Harvest. Oops. Now you can see on here on the Pear Pizzazz, can you see that white ink? I can just get a wet wipe or a tissue, paper towel, and wipe that off. The pad will be alright to use again, it won't have the Whisper White on it. Alright, so I'll just clean my stamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's, I can't touch the edges because that's still wet. So when it's dry, I'll finish the card off. But it's a great technique called the Velveteen Technique. So give it a go with a background stamp and Whisper White crafting, and then whatever stamp set you like to use. All right, thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.
Inspire destiny, require every dream to believe. Take the chance, lead the dance, and run with what is in your heart. Let the magic start, you're in charge.